Hi, Mark Gilbert here. In this video, we're going to be looking at the question, can we create a new time track? That's a provocative question, but it's one that famous New Thought teacher Ernest Holmes said, yes, we can do. It was actually at a talk he did in Asilomar in 1958, in August of that year, where to the participants at that conference, he gave a talk called Time is the Timeless. Now, that particular year, he gave 5 talks where all of them sort of took 2 concepts like time and the timeless that seemed like opposites, and he tried to bring them together and show the unity within them, like the relative is the absolute and so forth. Now, this particular night, though, it was very provocative because he says we can create a new time. We can create new time. And what does he mean by that? Well, we're going to explore that by looking at some of the quotes and things that he said in that particular talk. In this first quote, Holmes says, "Time is that which is and is not. It's not an eternal verity. If it were, the timeless would get caught in time and then would become the servant of time. But just the reverse. Time is the plaything of the timeless. Like creation, creation is necessary to a creator because a creator who doesn't create wouldn't exist. A consciousness which is not conscious of something has no reality." And then later on he adds, "Time may have no existence in itself. It has existence in our experience." Now let's stop there and just explore a couple of the concepts. When he's talking about the fact that time is the plaything of the timeless, what is he really talking about? Well, to understand that fully, we have to go back to some concepts that I've presented in some other videos, and it's the fact that we live in multiple realms at one time, that our ultimate truth is in a higher or upper realm of spirit or the absolute, where everything is God or spirit, and then it created this world of form, our world of the body, the world of time and space, for us as a place for us to experience, for spirit itself in its unity to experience itself through the multiplicity of its expressions. You and me and every person and everything that it's ever existed is existing for the delight of the divine. And so God has created this world for us to be moving through the world and experiencing and creating for the experience or the bliss of the divine. So when time is in a plague thing of the timeless, what it's saying is this realm that we are living in of time and form and all of the physical things that we experience in the world of form and body is a playground for spirit. Now, in between spirit is the realm of mind. And in mind, we have the ability to make choices and choose our thoughts. And as I've said in some other videos, it's sort of like a 3-layer cake where we're in body, mind, spirit. It's all united in a unity of oneness, but our ultimate truth is in that essence of the timeless and the absolute and the divine and spirit or God. But our experience in the day-to-day world is of this physical stuff where we're moving through the experience of time. But in our minds, we can experience both. In our use of mind, and by the use of thoughts, we can look at and tell stories about what's going on in the world of form, or we can also anchor our truth up into the world of spirit. And that's ultimately where we're going, is turning away from form and turning into spirit and recognizing our unity and oneness. So again, when Holmes says time has no existence in itself, it has existence in our experience, what he's trying to say is that our ultimate truth is in the timeless, so time is not real in and of itself. But we are spiritual beings moving through a human experience. And as part of that human experience, we go through the experience of time. So time is real as part of this experience. Just like he often says, Holmes wrote about the fact that someone asked him, is physical matter real? And he said it's real as form. It's real as part of our experience. We experience stuff in the world of form, and we experience it through increments of time. That's just the way the experience is set up while we are in the relative world of form and matter. So let's go on and look at a couple of other quotes from Holmes regarding time. He says, "We are hypnotized from the cradle to the grave en masse. There isn't any hell, but look how many people believe in it. There isn't any devil, but look how many people are scared of him. what laws the human mind have built up that go round and round in a little time track of our unredeemed lives until we are born believing them. These are neurotic thought patterns chasing themselves around in the little time track of an unredeemed experience. He adds, the first little time track was made, and it was added to until finally the emotional bias reached out into the unformed ages and chained and nailed down the possibility of the future when it came to being rational about this particular thing. So what is he saying there? He's basically saying that the experience that we all have, that we are in the middle of this human story, this human history of time, going back to the Big Bang to now and moving forward into the future, that we feel like that we cannot change that time because we have been hypnotized into believing that this story is our ultimate truth. Hence, we feel like what's been going on, that life has just been flowing in this direction through eons of time, and that it's just something that has been given to us and we have to take it and deal with it as is. And that's that he says ultimately that we're hypnotized in that way, that it's not our ultimate truth, and that we can change our time. We can change our experience of form, and we can change our experience of time. So these next quotes get into how we can do that. He says, now this is of great importance because you and I believe that time is not a thing in itself. It's merely the individual use that we are making of an eternal possibility, which is the timeless, which is forever giving birth to time and space, to accommodate the conditions and situations and creations which are instinctive in the nature of its thought. He adds, every time you and I think in what we call time, and when we think, we create the time and the situation that goes with it, and the condition inherent within the thought when we think it. That's why Troward said, he's talking about Thomas Troward there, the famous influence on Holmes, was a English judge who wrote a lot in the early part of the 20th century. That's why Troward said, principle is not bound by precedent. It is new and spontaneous creation, whether we know it or not. We actually create out the timeless that which is still the timeless, enacting time to dramatize itself, experience itself, and take delight in its own doing. Now, most students of New Thought are well familiar with the fact that we teach that thoughts are creative, and we typically think about the fact that our thoughts can create the manifestations in the physical world or the experiences that we're desiring in the world. But we don't often think about the fact that in the creation of those experiences, we're also creating time. And Holmes is telling us that when we make those creations, we are shifting the time track to a new time track for us. You know, in modern times, we might look at this as like, multiple dimensions or multiple universes. We talk about little sliding doors and changes in little events that can occur and create an alternate universe. In a sense, it sort of sounds like that, but what he's really talking about is the fact that out of the sense of the oneness, the timeless, the divine, the spirit, the all, the absolute, that there is a creative power within it that we can use through our thoughts. And when we are looking out at the world, we can create a new world for ourselves. In the world of form, we can create new form. And in that form, when we create a new form, we're also creating a new time track that form is being manifest upon. That's what he's saying here. So let's continue. Holmes goes on to say in this talk, imagine the sweep of a man who can say of all human history, he doesn't say it as just a fable that has been told. He knew too much to do that. Even history is a living, pulsating thing, reenacting its past in the present by precedent, until it is changed by reversing the action of the time track that created it. Now, what Holmes is really telling us there is that this human history is a fable we've all been telling ourselves. We just tell it over and over and over, and we believe that it is, and because of the belief in it, we keep creating that experience of it. We continue. Every time you give a treatment, now a treatment is an affirmative prayer that's taught in Science of Mind and in New Thought. So every time you give a treatment, you do that. Every time you say it doesn't have to be that way, you are intercepting, short-circuiting a time track so that it can no longer be effective. Definitely and deliberately. And every time you initiate a new chain of causation in mind, you're creating a new time that it shall accompany a new experience, unbound, unprecedented, new, spontaneous, springing from apparent nothing into apparent something, because all of creation is but outward manifestation of an inward fact or creator. He adds, every creation carries its own mathematics with it. Every creation. It is not bound by precedent, and that is why you and I can sit down in our own little time track, but we have to free ourselves from the beliefs which are in the time track of the ages, which is never a thing in itself. So here's the challenge to us as we listen to Holmes' words these many years later, is as we look out at the world that we are in the midst of, and there are things that are less than what we desire in that world, and we wish to create a new world, that through the power of our thoughts, through the power of affirmative prayer or treatment, we can take steps within our own consciousness and our own thinking, that movement of consciousness in our thinking, to create a new world. But it takes also letting go of the old time track, getting off the old story that humanity has been telling for eons and eons. We have to not buy in to the total limitations that humanity has presented to us through the history of humanity, and recognize that there's a new earth that can be created through the very nature of our own thoughts. Now, Holmes calls us to do this. So what do you think? Can you create a new time track? Let me know what you think in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. In any case, I hope this has been good food for thought in thinking about how you might actually create a new time track through the power of your consciousness. Thanks for watching.